I love Spock in The Wrath of Khan, but Leonard Nimoy's best movie isn't Star Trek. When you think of Leonard Nimoy, the image that instantly appears is his calm, sharp-eyed Spock, pointed ears, a raised eyebrow, the Vulcan salute. These symbols have been imprinted on pop culture for over half a century, and for many fans, Star Trek too. The Wrath of Khan represents Nimoy's defining cinematic moment. In that film, Spock is more than just the logical first officer of the Enterprise. He's a moral center whose ultimate act of sacrifice transforms the movie from a space adventure into a mythic tragedy. Yet, as brilliant as Nimoy is in The Wrath of Khan, his best movie isn't a Star Trek film at all. To really understand his artistry, you need to look at Three Men and a Baby, the 1987 blockbuster comedy Nimoy directed. Spock's greatest moment was never about logic. In The Wrath of Khan, Nimoy delivers a performance that is simultaneously restrained and deeply emotional. Spock's self-sacrifice, locking himself inside a radiation-flooded chamber to save the Enterprise, could have easily been melodramatic, but Nimoy plays it with Vulcan composure, letting only the slightest tremor of warmth crack through as he tells Kirk, "I have been, and always shall be, your friend." That line resonates because Nimoy understands Spock not as a cold alien, but as someone constantly navigating the line between intellect and empathy. This wasn't just acting. It was decades of character stewardship. Nimoy had fought to deepen Spock's inner life on the original series, and his performance in The Wrath of Khan feels like the culmination of that work. It's no wonder fans still rank it as one of the most moving moments in all of science fiction cinema. Leonard Nimoy, a storyteller beyond the stars. But Nimoy's talents went beyond wearing Vulcan ears. By the mid-1980s, he was increasingly drawn to the director's chair. He'd already helmed Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, and Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, proving he could balance effects-driven spectacle with humanistic humor. Paramount, impressed with his knack for tone and character, handed him the reins of a completely different kind of project. A lighthearted comedy starring Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, and Steve Guttenberg, Three Men and a Baby. Nimoy's unexpected masterpiece. On paper, Three Men and a Baby seemed like a strange fit for a man known for stoic aliens. It was a remake of a French farce about three bachelors suddenly saddled with caring for an abandoned infant. But Nimoy brought an unusual empathy to the material. He didn't treat it as just a slapstick comedy. He treated it as a story about growth, vulnerability, and unlikely family. Under Nimoy's direction, Selleck, Danson, and Guttenberg give some of their most charming performances, bouncing between fish-out-of-water comedy and genuine tenderness. The result was a film that transcended its premise. Instead of feeling like a gimmick, it felt heartfelt, almost like a sitcom pilot elevated to big-screen warmth. Critics were pleasantly surprised, and audiences adored it. Three Men and a Baby became the highest-grossing movie of 1987 in the United States, outpacing Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop 2, and even Good Morning, Vietnam. That's not just a fluke. Nimoy's knack for balancing tones, something he'd honed directing Star Trek IV, which famously features whales, time travel, and Cold War satire, served him perfectly here. He knew how to build character beats that felt sincere without sacrificing laughs. In a way, the film's success proved Nimoy was more than a genre specialist. He was a mainstream filmmaker who understood audiences. Why Nimoy's direction matters. Many actors turned directors stumble because they focus on performance at the expense of storytelling. Nimoy did the opposite. He built stories where performances were inseparable from theme. In Three Men and a Baby, the comedy isn't just about the absurdity of men changing diapers. It's about responsibility, friendship, and the ways unexpected care can change lives. A theme not so different from the found family ideals of Star Trek. And because Nimoy approached the film with sincerity rather than irony, it became a time capsule of 1980s optimism. The movie may not be high art, but it holds up as an example of how a skilled storyteller can make a commercial concept resonate emotionally. That's a harder feat than it looks, and one that few sci-fi icons have ever pulled off outside their franchises. More than Spock. When Nimoy passed away in 2015, much of the press centered on Spock, and understandably so. But revisiting his directorial work shows how multidimensional his career really was. He wrote poetry, recorded albums, published photography books, and directed movies that had nothing to do with phasers or starships. He was, in short, a storyteller in the broadest sense. To call Three Men and a Baby Nimoy's best movie isn't to diminish Star Trek. It's to recognize that his creative peak happened not just in front of the camera, but behind it. While The Wrath of Khan gave him the chance to deliver Spock's most iconic scene, Three Men and a Baby gave him something arguably rarer. A mass audience hit that proved his instincts as a director were as sharp as his instincts as an actor. The legacy of two careers. Leonard Nimoy's dual identity, actor and